Your SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Ben Nelson Golf and Outdoors. Easy Go Golf Cars, perfect for the neighborhood, your farm, your hunting camp. Easy Go Golf Cars. You can find them at Ben Nelson Golf and Outdoors. American made, Augusta, Georgia. That's right, where they play the Masters every year. Ben Nelson Golf and Outdoors. We're 105.9 The Zone ESPN. Show is also brought to you by Bulldog Burger in Lake Harbor in Ridgeland, Starkville, and Tupelo. Amazing burgers, great appetizers, and a great selection of craft beer, including Key City Beer out of Vicksburg, Mississippi. Key City Beer. Drink local. It is delicious. Jason and I like that Mexican lager from Key City. It's awesome. Their Oktoberfest is delicious, too.
And that Mississippi Queen is just old reliable.
I know.
Like a great blonde ale.
I know.
That's why whenever you ask me, it's like, hey, you want to pour up a beer? What do I always say?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a damn good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We welcome in Jake Thompson, Ole Miss insider, the Ole Miss Spirit, on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Jake, what were you most surprised about from Saturday's game, Ole Miss and Bama?
I think it was maybe a kind of a low-hanging fruit, but the halftime score. I don't think anybody saw 7-6. I mean, people may have expected a close score, but maybe not a score where each team's not put up double-digit points. I think that was, the most surprising thing, and kind of the 1A or 1B to that is just whatever happened to Ole Miss, which has been a strong second half team this year. And I know the competition is much different than what they had in Tuscaloosa, but they've managed to, come out in the second half and be strong. And what happened this past weekend was a team that looked like all its energy had gotten zapped. And when Milroe kind of made those few big plays coming out of that on that first drive, coming out of halftime, it just seemed to suck whatever was left out of them. And this was their chance to do it, and they didn't do it. And I think just the whole game itself, it was surprising as well, instead of just pulling from one small thing that, Alabama didn't look impressive to me in the first half.
No.
This is probably the best Ole Miss defense has played against, and this is probably the best team they've played against this year of the four. And this was the best that unit had played for two quarters. And, they finally got Sunturing Perkins to flash and was kind of the spy on Milroe and kept him in check in the first half. And, he got that big pick off in the end zone to kind of slow down momentum. But I think there was two bend but didn't break type drives by the defense. And then in the second half, it just all kind of fell apart, went away, and they just got worn down. The defense did, as the offense could barely struggle to stay out there for an average of 3 to 4, 5 plays a drive, if that, in the second half.
I agree with that. Well done. Laid it out. Jake Thompson, Ole Miss insider, talking Ole Miss Bama. Close game for a while on Saturday, and then Alabama took control of their offensive line, took control of the game, and put it away. I agree with Jake that Ole Miss's defense played fast and physical early and gave Alabama some problems. Jake, I'm going to drop some audio. I know you were there, and then I want you and I to discuss it. This is Lane Train post-game.
I'm not there yet. I mean, this was really discouraging to come in here. Really thought this was our shot to beat these guys. Just thought there were some things there we could do, and didn't get them done today. So we'll worry about next week, I guess, later today.
Jake, you were there. Did you get the sense from tone and demeanor that he really knew that Bama's down and he may not get another opportunity like this against Saban?
Yeah, he said it, and Dart even kind of went a step further after Kiffin when we talked to him and said, our whole team felt this was our chance or our year to get them. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember the same line, but similar vein of what Kiffin said. And, what my takeaway from that is, and then they probably bought into that, and it just expounded that feeling at halftime with the score being 7-6. They were up 7-3 most of a half until that Alabama got that other field goal to get closer. And I'm sure that was the belief of, they're kind of playing to our game, our speed. We're in control. And then the wagon wheels just came off. And, last November, Kiffin was just despondent. You could see it on his face. I mean, if he had chose not to say one word in the press conference, then you would have known that one really got him. That one hurt him. And then we saw the trickle down effect the rest of the regular season in the Texas Bowl. I saw a little bit of that this week in that, especially having a chance to beat him in Tuscaloosa, but not as bad. And so now the question is, and we'll talk to him here just a little bit this morning. They harped so much on that loss affecting the rest of their season, kind of that start of that adversity that they couldn't handle well is what they've harped on in the off season, the spring, and to us in camp. Now the question is, how does they handle that similar start of adversity with what they got coming up these next 2 weeks against two teams that look real good against each other Saturday night in LSU and Arkansas. So they don't really have a chance to kind of bounce back with a ULM game or something like that. This adversity that they harped on that they're ready to kind of face this go round is right here. So, it was a little telling, but also a little like maybe they knew how to handle this a little bit better than a year ago. But of course, that was 10 minutes after a game, and we've got a lot more to go the rest of the season to see if that theory is even plausible.
All right, Jake Thompson on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. What are the options with the running game, or do they have any?
I mean, Kiffin, and I kind of saw it as well, but of course I'm sitting up in the press box. I'm not a coach's mind, but Kiffin kind of said it twice Saturday and then to us last night as he started these Sunday media availabilities that he felt that was the best Quinshon had run hard, run his best. He wasn't really that 100% last week against Georgia Tech. He was a little bit obviously better this week, but I don't know what you do. This O-line that we've kind of talked about as returning, I wasn't claiming they were all Americans, so to speak, but there was experience in return. But, you've got a new coach there, and John Garrison, you made that switch in between the Egg Bowl and the Texas Bowl. But now they've had months and practices and time to kind of get that room together. And everybody just told us, of course, they're going to, that they like where things are and up front. But I don't know what it is with the run game. I mean, you couldn't get a run game going really against Mercer. You couldn't get it going against Tulane. You had flashes. Georgia Tech was the best, but it was really Jackson Dart, and you don't want your quarterback to be that. He's not supposed to be that. Your leading rusher. You've got the reigning SEC, rushing king right behind him. But for some reason, Quinshon just hasn't got it going. I don't know if it's sophomore slump. I don't know if he is hurt and he's just still young and trying to figure out how to compartmentalize that and play at the same time and not, maybe not run as hard into his lines or not, he's not really bouncing out much. He bounced out some Saturday and kind of made his own lane as he would last year, but he seems to be kind of sticking to whatever is called. He's running it and isn't making changes if he doesn't see something there. So, it has been puzzling. Of course, me included, I'm guilty. We hyped him up as, getting a chance to be that rushing king a second straight year, and it hasn't really been there for him. And, time will tell as now he's going to get consistent top-tier defenses moving forward till about late November. So we'll see if he's able to adapt and adjust. But right now, I think they're going to have to keep kind of banging their head against the wall or just running until they break one and find some kind of rhythm there.
What's the latest on Michael Trigg, tight end?
Until I was looking at snap counts last night, I didn't even know that he didn't take a snap. And I don't even think he took a snap on special teams unless I missed one somewhere in a punt or a kickoff. But, that surprised me. I know Prescorn was back, but he made one good catch and he was kind of effective in blocking and stuff in the first half when the offense was, chugging along a little bit better than it did the second half. But the fact they didn't use him at all was, blew my mind. And I just didn't think it until I saw last night, looking at the participation numbers. And so he's just been a mystery in terms of the expectations and the return on the investment, so to speak. And, I guess that's something we can ask, but we'll probably get the same kind of coach speak that we always get when we ask that kind of stuff. I don't think he was hurt. Nobody had any inkling that he was hurt. We saw him at practice last week. So, I don't know if that was something they felt that Prescorn was better against this defense in certain things and Trigg just, still is trying to work on some of the blocking schemes, or they just trusted Prescorn more. We'll see what they do come Saturday if they throw him out there against LSU.
All right, defensive side of the football. Played pretty well. I thought Pete Golding had a heck of a game plan. And granted, Bama, you were at the game, so you didn't hear this, Jake. but Ross Tucker, the color analyst for CBS, said that talking to NFL scouts, Alabama does not have a top 100 pick offensive skill player wise in the draft, which is, really hard to wrap your brain around.
It's kind of blasphemous at this point.
Yeah.
Compared to what Alabama's put out there.
But it was a better, no doubt. It was a better defense. Golding had them going. What was your, Suntarine, Sistrunk? I mean, you had some guys flying around. I guess you can build on that for LSU. Although LSU's got more pieces than Bama this year, but still, you can build on that, right?
Yeah, there's if there was a gold star to be given out, it would be Golding and the defense. Just for they seemed to be the unit that was playing better for, I'd say, 75 to 80% of the game until that fourth quarter. And they just got worn down because they were out there for so much of those last two quarters. But no, I think Golding knew, you felt he would have a plan. I mean, he was just there last year, and everybody can say things change, staffs changes, but they're still the same guy at the top of the tree in Alabama. And Golding knows how he thinks, how he operates, and what he likes to do and not do. And, I'm sure he knew that Milroe is not, he isn't the guy. I mean, he's probably the guy now as with how he played. I'm sure he's the de facto starter moving forward. But they knew that was an Alabama offense that had no identity. I mean, for 3 games, it was the most kind of lost Alabama offense that probably any of us have seen in at least a decade. And Golding capitalized on that. He took advantage. Suntarine Perkins played like a man motivated. I mean, I know Alabama wanted him. And Golding has even said when we talked to him that he wanted to be where Perkins went. So there was a lot of, package deal type talk around that. And so I know he wanted to use Perkins as much as he could if Perkins was effective, and he was. And they had a great game plan of trying to contain Milroe. I mean, he still got some runs in the first half and made some plays. But they had him kind of on his heels, so to speak, and then they just couldn't keep it going in the second half. But I think Golding had a tremendous game plan, and you get for the next 3 games, you've got a similar style attack of a quarterback who's going to run probably more than you may pass, especially with Jaden Daniels, who's good at that, and then KJ Jefferson. He's liked to run wild on these Ole Miss defenses for the past 2 years. So I think you can build on it because you've got a similar style signal caller these next 2 weeks as well.
Okay. What do you make of the criticism on Lane? I mean, Ole Miss fans are not happy. They were an underdog. It wasn't necessarily a blowout. The first half was competitive. Second half, Bama took control. What do you make on the fact that Ole Miss fans are exasperated over a loss at Bama?
I think they felt and probably bought in just like the players did and Kiffin did, so that they felt this was the year. They'd all watched these first 3 Alabama games. I think it probably didn't help, obviously, when Kiffin does what he's going to do. And he's going to do that wherever he is. He's not doing that just because he's at Ole Miss being cute with the tweets and all that. I mean, that's what he does wherever he is. But they watched an Alabama team struggle in Tampa and be 3-3 at halftime, and then only basically be 10-3 for most of the game against South Florida until they got that score. And they were licking their lips and, saw that was a gettable game. And you saw Ole Miss was having success now, against their non-conference foes handily at times. So I think everybody just kind of got bought into it. And, everybody enjoys the tweets and the clips and the sound bites to us and the coach's show and ESPN, whoever else he does interviews with. But then when the kickoff comes, you got to get the results. And this was one of those, everybody kind of argues signature wins matter. No, any win, he just needs to win any game. But I think these SEC games are signature wins that he just doesn't have. That Tennessee game a couple of years ago was good, but that was a couple of years ago. You can't just say, oh, well, I've gotten one in 3 or 4 years. They want him to be like the Saban. They want him to be, these consistently winning coaches, Kirby Smarts, where those are just another Saturday. Those aren't we got a win we haven't gotten in 4 or 5 years. And so when the results don't come, everybody goes back, and I guess as we say in this era, the receipts are brought out, and you say, well, you said all this, did all this, and then you go out there and you lose. Now, I'm not completely offended by how they played or how it went. They held Alabama to 24 points. I mean, there's most games where Ole Miss couldn't hold Alabama to 24 points in a quarter at times. So I mean, I think there's positives, but it's knee jerk, it's fans, it's passion. We'll see how the week goes. It got a little bit better, as the day went on yesterday, and everybody kind of just watched NFL and went about their normal routines and weren't sitting there glued to Ole Miss 24/7 like you are on Saturdays.
Yeah, I got you.
So
No,
we'll see, but I will see if he keeps it up. And he doesn't really talk much. I don't think he has that rapport with Brian Kelly, so maybe it's dialed down a little bit this week, but we'll find out in a couple hours.
Okay. Do you go to Lane Kiffin's coaching show?
I have tried to, but he does it at Blu-ray, and it gets packed quick there. So I usually just listen on the radio, or they stream it as well to watch. So I usually just watch it at home.
Okay. I would think so. Is he pretty engaging there at Blu-ray?
He's I think he just, his personality, and I'm not trying to psychoanalyze, but I've tried to think about this for years. I think there's certain things he just gets uncomfortable with. Doesn't hate them, just like we all do. We do something, and it may not be our type of environment.
Sure.
Where he zooms with us via, last night it wasn't a video aspect. It's like a teleconference, which is the local media. And it was 10 minutes of him being much more talkative, much more open than he normally is. So I think there's just certain environments that maybe aren't his cup of tea. And he opens up, David Kellum does a great job of kind of getting him to open up, and he loosens up throughout the night. But it is, at the start, I think he's just kind of, especially now, after a loss, it may not be the most fun, but he seems to take it, and, you don't really get a lot of meat and potatoes. You just get a lot of, stuff to just make everybody kind of laugh for an hour at the restaurant. But he doesn't hate them. I just think they're not his thing all the time.
Boo-ray, Thursday night, Lane. Yeah, that packed house, that does not sound like something Lane likes. No doubt. All right. Is it too early for a prediction from you? Is Ole Miss going to win this game? What do you think? You feel good about it? You feel okay? You don't feel good? Where are we right now, Jake Thompson?
From a professional standpoint, I wish that Arkansas LSU game would have been in a slot that I could have watched it, because it looks like it was interesting on both sides. So I didn't really get to see it. And so I'd probably have a prediction, but I see Vegas as keeping it close at the moment, closer than I kind of expected. People were kind of, shocked that the Tigers were favored. I expected them to be favored no matter what, even if Ole Miss won Saturday, just because I think them and Bama are kind of the top in the West. Now, I think it'll be close. It helps. Obviously, Ole Miss has them at home. They seem to play better against LSU at home, so that's in their back pocket. Now, we'll see how motivated this team is throughout the week, but I think I either say it's going to be close, or or it's going to be bad the other way. I don't know if Ole Miss can pull away and control it all the way. It may be a close game.
Okay. All right. Jake Thompson, Ole Miss Spirit on 3 Sports. Joined us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay, man. Well, he was in Tuscaloosa. Yeah, I bet that Boo-ray coaches show for Lane is exactly what he doesn't want to do. Just because that's not his thing. Quick-witted as he is on Twitter,
Yeah.
he's got time to kind of construct his tweet, figure out what he wants to do. But see, Twitter isn't as cute to Ole Miss fans like you, Jason, when you're not winning.
Right. Well, of course. Yeah.
And so, it was that 2-year run where he won both Egg Bowls, went 10-2, beat LSU and A&M that year.
Mm-hmm.
Was, it didn't matter. Whatever he tweeted was fun and hip and cool and, all that stuff for Ole Miss fans. And then now we've got people on our text line, Ole Miss fans, who are like, I'm done. I'm tired of the Twitter. I'm tired of all that. Let's get focused and win games. Not that if you tweet 6 times in a week, it's taken away from your film study, but that's how it works.
Yeah.
Now, if he wins this weekend, he can tweet all day on Sunday, and y'all will love it, right? You'll bathe in it.
I mean, the biggest part would be the
lather
win.
Up, woo! Lane's tweeting again. We won. Right?
Well, I mean, it'd be a great win. That's probably one of the top 3 wins that you can get in the SEC right now.
Oh, it is. Yeah, no question.
So
LSU's a good team. I don't know who's great, but you are right. LSU's a good football team.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll be happier about the win. Maybe the tweets are kind of cute every now and then. It's funny when he'll kind of connect with like Hezbollah, is that small little Russian guy that everybody loves on social media, that he's trying to get to come to Ole Miss for one of the games. So like,
of course,
he's
got to have another celebrity come into the fold,
of course,
to make you feel awesome. Yeah,
we didn't get Katy Perry.
I don't even know who that is.
You don't know who Hezbollah is?
No.
Wow, he erupted on the scene maybe a year ago.
Okay, is he a comedian?
No, he's just like he's basically like a personality. He's a small little Russian guy. He's got like a disorder that makes him. He's like 20 years old, but he's like maybe 2 feet tall.
Okay.
But he went viral for like every time he would meet like an MMA person, like a big fighter, he would like try to punch him.
Got it.
So Lane tried to get him to come to Oxford for one of the games.
He's buddies with Dana White.
They've had some, it's kind of. So
Okay.
they're like they've had a back and forth, and it's kind of like the whole Katy Perry thing when Lane was like, "Katy, please come back to Ole Miss."
Yeah,
for
she
the
didn't even know where
college
Ole Miss
game
was.
day. Yeah. I mean, was it great to have her there? That was awesome, but I don't think we got to win some more if we want to get another celebrity.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's all about getting another celebrity.
Well, I mean, it just, it stirs the buzz. That's what it does. I mean, people talk about, especially after Ole Miss did beat Bama that time that Katy Perry went, that shot that whole experience through the roof.
Man, that was beautiful. Thank you.
Of course.
This is great. Say his name again. Hezbollah?
Hezbollah. Hasbulla.
So he's a social media star.
Pretty much, yeah. Like it's just like he's like small, cute, and funny, and does interviews and stuff.
And Mr. DX says maybe Katy Perry can come back. Yeah, she has no idea where Oxford is. But this is good. All right. Well, are you going?
I will not be there. No, I don't think so. I don't have a place to stay up there anymore.
Hold on.
Because
how can we be? How much time? I don't have enough time. All right. how can we be a fan? Because I'm a fan. How can we be a fan and not go to the game?
Well, I don't have a place to stay up there anymore. It's a 5:00 game, and I'd be driving back.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Get out of there at 8:30, maybe.
Yeah, get back.
Get home at 11. Well, probably get out of there closer to 9.
Yeah, traffic and everything.
And Highway 6 is a bear.
55 that late at night.
Yeah, and then
doesn't sound fun.
You got to have a sober driver.
Of course.
So that puts you at the house maybe at midnight. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
And then
but you should. You're young. All right. Is William Faulkner available? That's on the Ag Up Equipment text line. That is phenomenal. The Ag Up Equipment John Deere tractor text line. Well, the Meltdown Monday is over. We went hardcore football today. Hardcore. We're going to start talking booze and food, grill, all that stuff.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. That was way, way too hardcore football. But the SEC Insider hit at 7:30 was pretty damn good. You can check it out on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Search Out of Bounds with Bo Bounds. I hope you have a good Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.
greenhealthdocs.com. greenhealthdocs.com.
ESPN The Zone 105.9. Now, where college football meets the all lifestyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the
Hey, this. Good morning. Welcome in.
National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Act.
We are the Out of Bounds Show. Man, Coachman Dion goes back to back.
Shield Mid-South.
Your SEC Insider hit. $49.49 Old Camp.
as now he's going to get consistent against the wall or just find some kind of rhythm there.
What's the latest?
Samuel,
Okay. All right.
or it's going to be bad the other way.
Okay. All right. Jake Thompson. Your SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by
It has been puzzling as now he's going to get consistent and run it until they break one and find some kind of rhythm there.
What's the latest on Michael Trigg?
This week, but we'll find out in a couple hours.
Okay. Do you go to Lane? Okay. To kind of construct his and win games. Not that he
The biggest
just
part would be the
lather
win.
up, woo, Lane's tweeting again, we won, right?
Well, I mean, it'd be a great win. That's probably one of the top 3 wins that you can get in the SEC right now.
Oh, it is. Yeah, no question.
So
LSU's a good team. I don't know. I don't
suck whatever was left out of them. And this was their chance. This was their chance to do it, and they didn't do it there. And John Garris claiming they were all Americans, so to speak, but there was experience in return. But you've got a new coach there, and John Garrison. You made that switch in between the Egg Bowl and the Texas Bowl. Golding and the defense.
Still, you can build on that, right?
Or to be a percent of the game. He was just there last year. That Milroe is not, he's a starter moving forward, but they knew that was an Alabama offense that had no identity. I mean, for three games, it was the most kind of lost LT does interviews with. But then when the kickoff comes, you got to get the results, and this was one of those. Everybody kind of argues signature wins matter. No, any win, he just needs to win any game. But I think these SEC games are signature wins that he just doesn't have. That Tennessee game a couple years ago was good, but that was a couple years ago. You can't just say